أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربنا زدنا علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين آمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya Ahlul Quran. I hope and pray that you are all in the best state of health and increasing state of Iman. Ameen. Alhamdulillah. So, in the previous class, yesterday we started the Makhraj al-Lisaan, right? We have completed learning 7 letters. Inshallah, let's have a quick revision of those 7 letters and then we'll learn all the remaining 11 letters today, inshallah. Okay, fine. Alhamdulillah, the first part of the tongue which we learnt yesterday was the last part of the tongue, that is the aqsal lisan, from where we pronounce 2 letters, the letter qaf and the letter kaf. To pronounce letter qaf, the back portion of a tongue, that is the posterior part of a tongue, touches the upper soft palate. Okay, and it has a sifat called qalqala. Right, alhamdulillah. Letter kaf is pronounced by touching the posterior part of a tongue, which is bit nearer to the mouth area. It should not be so far away, just like letter qaf. It should be a bit nearer to the mouth area. That posterior part of the tongue, aqsal lisan, touches in between the hard and soft palate. Okay, touches between the hard and soft palate. Only then we'll be able to pronounce the letter kaf clearly. It should not touch the soft palate or it should not touch the hard palate. It should touch in between the hard and the soft palate. And this is a light letter and we do hums, that is continuation of the breath, while this letter is in sakin state. Alhamdulillah, and this is a light letter. The next set of letters which we learnt yesterday is pronounced from the middle part of tongue, right? That is the wasatul lisan. Alhamdulillah. How to pronounce these letters? The middle part of our tongue touches the upper hard palate. To pronounce the letter Jim, there should be no space in between the tongue and your palate. Okay, then you'll be able to pronounce the letter Jim clearly without any hums. That is, there should be no air involved while pronouncing this letter Jim. If you involve it, it sounds like Jim. Okay, so make sure you pronounce this letter by touching the wasatul lisan completely to the your hard palate. There should be no space. It is a light letter and when it has sakin on it, we do qalqala. Next is letter sheen. The wasatul lisan just rises towards the hard palate. It won't touch, but the space between hard palate and your wasatul lisan is very less, so that the breath can pass out and strike your teeth to pronounce the letter sheen with a shushing sound. And it is a light letter. Alhamdulillah. And the last letter of wasatul lisan is letter ya. The ya which we learnt yesterday in Makhraj al-Lisan is the ya ghair maddiya. You will understand it inshallah when we study the ruling of sakin or ruling of mad. Okay, what to do? The middle part of your tongue will rise towards the upper hard palate and it should not touch that upper hard palate. There should be a space between the palate and your tongue, and the space should be more than the letter sheen. Okay, and it is very softly pronounced like ya, yi, you, and this letter is light as well. All the letters of Makhraj al-Lisan of wasatul lisan are the light letters, and the letter Jim has a special property called as qalqala. Okay, alhamdulillah. So the next which we learnt yesterday, the next part or the next articulation point of the tongue was the hafat al-lisan, edges or sides of the tongue. Okay, in that we learned the letter dad, where the both sides or the edges of the tongue touches the inner gum line of both sides of molar and premolar teeth. Okay, the yellow point highlighted here will just touch the yellow point highlighted in this image, that is the gums of your incisor and canine teeth. It just touches lightly, but the strong touch will be produced by the sides of the tongue only. Okay, and it creates a lock kind of system in your tongue, and also the back portion, the last portion of your tongue should rise towards the soft palate to make the letter sound very heavy, and that is why this is a heavy letter. Okay, it is huruf al musta'aliya, alhamdulillah. And you have an option to either touch one side of your tongue to the one side of your upper gum line or gums of molar and premolar teeth. Okay, or you can touch both the sides of your tongue. Okay, it is up to you which will be easy for you. You will just pronounce it in that way. Okay, alhamdulillah, it is a full mouth letter and pronounced heavily. The last letter which we learned yesterday was a letter lam, in which the Tarful Lisaan, the middle part of our the tip of our tongue, including its edges also from the sides, tip of the tongue, the edges of the tip of the tongue and the sides also will touches the gum line of incisor and canine teeth, all those teeth, leaving the molar and premolar teeth, the remaining teeth, it touches there, and we produce the sound lam, la, lilu, just like the English letter L. And what is the sifat of it? It is a mushtarak letter. Sometimes it is pronounced heavily and sometimes it is pronounced lightly. Okay, alhamdulillah, these are the letters which we learned yesterday, and I hope you all practiced it well, and also you all know the sifat and the makhraj of these letters. Okay, you have to understand the makhraj specially, or else you will not be able to pronounce these letters clearly. If you just miss the makhraj, if you just place the tongue somewhere else instead of pointing it on the makhraj, then the letter will be pronounced completely wrong. Okay, fine. So inshallah today we will learn all the 11 remaining letters which are pronounced from the tip of our tongue. Okay, for all the 11 letters the makhraj is only the tip of the tongue, but it touches the other places of our roof. So inshallah the roof of our mouth, and that is why we will learn each letter separately with separate sifat. Each letter has a separate kind of sifat, alhamdulillah. Okay, the first letter in Tarful Lisaan, that is the tip of the tongue. All the letters now we are learning are from Tarful Lisaan. The first letter is letter Noon. Okay, from where do we pronounce the letter Noon? The letter Noon is pronounced by touching the tip of the tongue to the upper two, to the gums of upper two incisor teeth. It is just like the letter N. The tip of the tongue touches the gums of upper two incisor teeth, and we pronounce the letter Noon. Na, ni, nu. Na, ni, nu. Okay, and it has a special quality called nasalization, that is ghunna. Okay, half of the sound comes from the tongue and the other half comes from the nasal cavity. What is the nasal cavity called in Arabic? The nasal cavity is called al-khayshum. Okay, but you can just write, we do nasalization, that is called as ghunna on the letter Noon. In all the Arabic letters, there are 28 Arabic letters, right? Only 2 letters has a sifat, has a quality called nasalization. One we completed in ash-shafatan, that is meme, and now we are studying the letter Noon from al-lisan. Tarful Lisaan, it is known. Only these 2 letters are pronounced with nasalization. The remaining letters has no property called nasalization. Fine, alhamdulillah. So this is a light letter. The back part is not elevated above, you can see. And where is your tongue? The tip of the tongue is touching the gums of the upper two incisor teeth. Alhamdulillah, it is very easy letter, just like the word Noon in English. Okay, it is just like the letter N in English, alhamdulillah. Okay, that is it, alhamdulillah. We have completed learning the letter Noon. In the same way we pronounce another letter Ra. Okay, the tip of the tongue touches the gums of your upper incisor teeth. Okay, the makhraj is same, but the way we pronounce differs just because they differ in quality. The tip of the tongue touches the gum of your upper gums of your upper incisor teeth, and we pronounce the letter Ra, which is similar to the English letter R. Okay, this letter Ra has a property. Yeah, Noon is a light letter, sister. Okay, this letter Ra has a property called tikrar or takrar. What does that mean? It means the rolling of your tongue on its makhraj. Okay, but that sifat, you can just write trilling sifat, okay, or you can write the rolling of your tongue on its makhraj, or you can just write takrar or tikrar. This is a sifat of letter ra, the quality of letter ra, which we should make sure not to apply it more. Okay, this is a sifat which should be in a moderate range. You should not exaggerate, and also it should not be so less. What is, how to pronounce the letter ra clearly? Raw, 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 ri, ru, raw, ri, ru. Okay, but the sifat called tikrar or the trilling, if that exaggerate, it will sound raw, raw. This is wrong. Okay, because I have seen few sisters pronounce the letter raw, especially when it has tajdeed, either by completely removing the quality of takrar, or by applying it or and exaggerating the property called takrar. How it is possible? I'll just recite an ayah of surah fatiha, like how students recite sometime. Okay, if you want to pronounce the words ar-rahman ar-rahim properly, you have to just roll your tongue for a two count. Just for 2 times you have to roll your tongue, just like ar-rahman ar-rahim, ar-rahman ar-rahim. Okay, but if you remove that sifat of trilling your tongue or takrar, then it sounds like ar-rahman ar-rahim. The ra is not audible, right? It is not clearly audible. We'll not know that which letter we are pronouncing, right? So we have to add a sifat of takrar, that is rolling of your tongue, at least a little, not so much. If you exaggerate, how does it sound? Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is wrong. Okay, there is a high possibility of applying this takrar, especially when it has tajdeed. So make sure you have to keep this sifat of takrar in a moderate strength. Okay, it should not rise and it should not become so weak that you don't pronounce a ra clearly. Alhamdulillah, I hope you understand. The sifat is called as takrar, or you can write rolling of the tongue on its makhraj, or trilling of the tongue, which should not be done actually, because trilling means doing it more than 3 to 4 times. It is like you're pronouncing 3 to 4 raw at once. Okay, it should not be done, and it should not be completely removed and pronounced like raw, raw, raw. In this way, the ra is not clearly audible, and that is why you have to pronounce just by rolling your tongue for 1 or 2 times, like raw, 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 raw. Okay, but the rolling should not be raw. This is completely wrong. Alhamdulillah, we have learned about the raw, and in its sifat, you write it is a mushtarak letter. Out of 2 mushtarak letters, out of 3 mushtarak letters, we have completed 2. One was the letter lam and the other is letter ra. Okay, this letter ra is recited, is pronounced heavy sometimes and light sometimes. To make it heavy, we just rise the back portion of the tongue, as you can see in this image. Okay, but it is not pronounced heavily always. It is a mushtarak letter. Sometimes it is pronounced heavily and sometimes it is pronounced lightly. It has a sifat called takrar, the rolling of the tongue on its makhraj. You have to not exaggerate that sifat or the quality. Even you should not completely remove it, or else it won't sound correctly. Okay, alhamdulillah, that's it. This is the easiest letter, just like the letter R in English. Okay, alhamdulillah, this is the mushtarak letter. There are 3 mushtarak letters. One is lam, another is ra, and the third is alif. Alif we learn in huruf al-mad. So you can somewhere write that alif is also a mushtarak letter, which is light and heavy sometime. Remember, it is not hamza. Okay, this alif, if it has fatha, dhamma, kasra, sakin on it, this is not an alif anymore. It is hamza now. Okay, alif means something which just is like a stick and it has nothing on it. It should be always empty. Only then we call it as alif. Okay, alhamdulillah, that alif is sometime light and sometime heavy. Alhamdulillah, we have completed learning 2 letters pronounced from the tip of the tongue. One is letter noon and the second is letter ra. Now let's learn the next set of Tarful Lisaan, that is letter dal, letter ta, letter to. Okay, we use Tarful Lisaan to pronounce this letter, but the top side of your Tarful Lisaan. For example, if this is your tongue and this is the tip, right? You will not use the edges of this tip, but you will use this top portion. Okay, you will use this top portion of the tip of your tongue. Tarful Lisaan. Where does this top portion of your tip of the tongue touches? It touches the gums of your upper two incisor teeth. Not the exact gum. It should begin from the root of your teeth. Okay, for example, if this is your teeth and this is your gum, right? You have to touch it from here only, from this portion only. Okay, it should not from this portion only. It should not touch here on the gums. It should touch from the last part of your teeth, the roots of your teeth, you can call it. I'll explain you from this image to make it even more clear. Okay, in this image you can see, if this is okay, here the upper teeth is not visible, so I'll show you from the lower teeth. Okay, this is the root of the teeth, right? Just from its root you have to just on the root you have to touch your top portion of your Tarful Lisaan, tip of the tongue, top portion of your head of the tongue. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Then you can pronounce the letter ta, letter dal, letter ta easily. Alhamdulillah. Let's learn its makhraj separately with its sifat now, inshallah. Okay, this letter dal, the makhraj is same. You can see in three images also. All the three letters, in all the three images, the three letters are pronounced in the same way by touching the top portion of your Tarful Lisaan, the head of your tongue or tip of your tongue, touching the roots, including the gums of your upper two incisor teeth, right? But it differs in sifat, and that is why it differs in their sounds. How? The letter dal is pronounced just like we say in English. If you want to pronounce the word that is a book, it is the THA in that. Okay, it is the THA in that. In that way we have to pronounce the letter dal by touching the top portion of your Tarful Lisaan towards your upper gums, in the gums of two incisor teeth. Dal, the, do. Dal, the, do. It is a light letter in Sifat, you write it is a light letter, and it has a property called qalqala. Okay, out of 5 qalqala letters we have learnt letter ba, letter qaf, letter jim, and this is letter dal. Now only one is remaining, which we'll learn in this slide only. Alhamdulillah. It is a light letter and it has a special property of qalqala when it is in a sakin state. Alhamdulillah. Now in the same way how we pronounce dal, we'll pronounce letter ta. How? It is the letter ta is just like I said while learning the letters in the word Thailand. Okay, THA. See, in English the THA is sometimes pronounced as da and sometimes as ta, right? It is completely different, but in Arabic, alhamdulillah, we pronounce ta by touching the top portion of your Tarful Lisaan to the upper gums of incisor teeth. Okay, to the gums of upper incisor teeth. Ta, ta, ti, tu. Ta, ta, ti, tu. Ta, ta, ti, tu. Okay, it is a very light letter and it has a special quality called hums. Okay, there are 10 hums letters in which we will focus only on 2 letters, because without doing hums, those 2 letters cannot be pronounced while they are in sakin. Okay, so the first letter which we already learned was the letter kaf, right? It has a property called hums. Now the second is letter ta. Alhamdulillah. Fine. Okay, this letter ta has a property called hums. What is it? You'll understand. It is called as a continuation of the breath, but you'll understand it better when we learn the rule of sakin. Alhamdulillah. The makhraj is just like dal, but the difference is you have to do hums, and also the sound is a bit different, and it is a light letter. Alhamdulillah. Now the next letter which we are learning is a ta. The sound of ta is exactly same as the letter ta. Okay, the sound of ta is exactly same like ta, but there is a difference in quality. What is that difference? You can understand it by seeing this image. The back portion of your tongue is not elevated, but here it is rising towards the soft palate. It should not touch there. If you touch, it sounds like qaf. Then you should just rise. That is called as isti'ala. That is rising the back portion of your tongue towards the soft palate, which will create a very narrowness in your mouth, and the letter sounds heavily. Okay, alhamdulillah. And how to pronounce it? Ta, ta, ti, tu, ta, ti, tu. Just see, even if it has kasra dhamma, everywhere it is pronounced heavily because its sifat is sifat lazima, the permanent sifat where it is always heavy. Okay, ta, to, ta, to, ta, to. Sometimes when we convert, what happens is, if there is any word starting from to, okay, and we pronounce it lightly, then it converts to the another letter, right? So especially for the letter to, we have to focus on the heaviness of it, the quality called its heaviness. Okay, it's isti'ala property, we have to focus on it. This is the most strongest letter of huruf al musta'aliya. Among 7 strong heavy letters, this is the most strongest. It should be pronounced very, very heavily. To, toi, tu. Okay, alhamdulillah. And it has a property called as qalqala. Out of 5 qalqala letters, we have completed all the 5. Letter ba, letter jim, letter qaf, letter ta, and letter dal. Okay, alhamdulillah. Dal, ta, ba in shifatan, qaf in aqsal lisan, and jim in wasatul lisan. Alhamdulillah. You can remember this all together as qutubu jad or qatubu jad. You will understand that inshallah in sakin lesson. Alhamdulillah, these are the letters. Hums means continuation of the breath, sister. Okay, continuation of the breath is called as hums. Inshallah, we will learn that in Sakin. You will understand more better. You will just have to write it now, because at the end of the course, when you revise all the lessons using your book, at that time, if you see this in Sifat column, there is hums or qalqala, you will understand by yourself what is hums and qalqala, because till that time you have already been learned about it, right? And that is why you just write it now, but we'll learn about it later inshallah. If we start to discuss the qualities of letters when they are in sakin now, you will be difficult to understand, because still many sisters don't know what is sakin, right? So inshallah, let's learn that later. For now, you just write the ta has hums property, the dal and ta has the property called qalqala. Dal and ta is a light letter, but letter ta is pronounced heavily. And out of 7 huruf al musta'aliya, this letter ta is more heavier. It is the strongest in the heaviness of the letters. Okay, alhamdulillah. Now inshallah, let's see the next pair of Tarful Lisaan, that is next set of Tarful Lisaan letters, which are also called as the whistling letters. The whistling letters, or the letters which has a sifat, which has a quality called sifat al-safir. Okay, they create a kind of sound when they are pronounced, a whistling kind of sounds. Inshallah, we'll learn it separately now. The makhraj is just exactly same. What happens here? The tip of your tongue touches the back portion, that is the root or the back portion of your 2 incisor teeth, but the lower incisor teeth. Okay, the back portion of your tongue, the tip of your tongue, you can see it is touching the back side of your 2 lower incisor teeth. Okay, it just touches there, and all we have to do is to make a whistling and buzzing sounds. Okay, it should just touch there. There is nothing the tongue should do. It should just touch the tip of the tongue will just touch the back side or the root of your lower 2 incisor teeth. Okay, there is a little space left in between the tip of the tongue and the plates of the teeth. If this is a teeth and this is called as a plate, right? There should be a little space over there. Why? To sound a whistling and buzzing sound. How are these letters pronounced? This letter Z is just like the letter Z with a buzzing sound. It has a buzzing sound like Z, Z, Zazizu, Z, Zazizu. Okay, you can see the tongue is just touching the plates of your lower incisor teeth, but then you will just make a buzzing sound using your teeth like za, zazizu, za, zazizu, right? It has a kind of buzzing sound. Alhamdulillah. What is the next letter? It is letter Sin. The letter za is a light letter, and in Sifat you can write it has a buzzing sound. Okay, and next is letter Sin. Even this is a light letter. Even this is a light letter, and it is pronounced just like za, that is touching the tip of your tongue to the plates of lower incisor teeth and making a whistling sound called as whistling sound like Sin, sa, si, su. Seen, sa, si, su, right? It is just like the English letter S. Okay, it's just similar. The sound is similar to the English letter S with a lot of whistling sound. Seen, sa, si, su, sa, si, su. Okay, Alhamdulillah. And these two letters are light letters. The letter Swad is just like the letter Seen. The sound of letter Swad is just like Seen, but it is a heavy letter. You can see from these both images, the back portion of tongue is raised when we pronounce the letter Swad. Swad. Okay, you do isti'ala and pronounce it heavily. And if you want an English alternate, it is just like S but with heaviness. So when you say something like I saw that thing, I saw, this is how you make it heavy, by rising the back portion of your tongue towards the upper soft palate. Sawed. Okay, Sawd, Saw, Soy, So. Even in Fatha Dhamma Kasra it will be heavy. Sawd, Saw, Soy, So. Fine. Alhamdulillah. So all these letters are whistling and buzzing sound letters. This has a special quality called Sifat as-Safir. If you want to know in English, the Sifat, the quality is called as Safir. That is, it has a whistling sound in it. And here letter za has a buzzing sound, letter Sin and Sod has a whistling sound. Za, sa, so. Okay, za, Sin, Sod. Fine. Alhamdulillah, za and Sin are light letters, Sod is a heavy letter. So we have completed learning the next set of Tarful Lisaan, that is za, Sin, Sod, and now only one set is remaining. A set of 3 letters, inshallah. We'll learn it now. What are these letters? These are the letters which we usually mispronounce and convert these letters into these letters, which we learned just now. The letters of whistling sound, the letters with a whistling sound, we convert these letters, letter dal, tha and dho, to these letters za, sin and sod. Okay, you will understand well when I explain this separately. How to pronounce these letters? These letters are pronounced by touching the tip of your tongue to the edges of your upper 2 incisor teeth. Okay, you can see from this image, it is very clear that these are your edges, right? Edges of a teeth, and your tongue should come out. The tip of the tongue should come out. You should not bring the full portion of your Tarful Lisaan outside your teeth. Okay, it should not come out of your teeth. That is the teeth line. It should not come out of your teeth line. Make sure only the tip of the tongue should touch the upper the corners, or you can say the edges of your upper incisor teeth. Okay, or if you are finding it difficult, just make sure that you press the tip of your tongue between 2 upper and lower incisor teeth. You should just press it. Okay, then the sound which produces is dal, tha, dha. Dal, dha, tha. You can see there is no buzzing and whistling sound here, but what we do is we pronounce this letter with whistling and buzzing sound and convert it into Sin and za. For example, if you want to say dhikrullah, yani do the dhikr of Allah, what we say? Do the zikr of Allah. We say it is not za, it is the with no buzzing sound. You have to touch the tip of your tongue to the edges of your incisor teeth and pronounce it like the, zu, dhikrullah. Okay, dhikr, the. But you should not make za sound. Za. It should not have any kind of buzzing sound. If you add a buzzing sound here, then it will convert into za, because most of the students when reciting Quran have seen zalikal kitabu, they say zalikal kitabu. Alladhina, they say allazina. It is not za, it is zal over there. Okay, so make sure there should be no buzzing sound in letter zal. If you make it, it will convert into letter za. Same thing, there should be no buzzing sound in letter zal. So it is not a za, it is a za. The sound of letter zal and za is exactly same. The difference is you can see the tongue is raised above. Here while pronouncing the letter za, isti'ala is done, but here it is not done. Okay, letter zal and letter za are similar. And same way in previous slide we saw letter sin and letter sa is similar, right? And letter ta and letter ta is similar. What is the difference in these letters is ta, sin and zal are light, ta, sad and za are heavy. So you have to be very careful in these heavy and light letters which have exact same makhraj but differ only with heaviness and lightness. If you remove their heaviness, they'll convert into light letters, and that is why you have to read these letters, these three heavy letters carefully. Okay, alhamdulillah, it is very easy. These two are the light letters and this is a heavy letter. The letter the and letter za has the same sound, but letter sa is somewhat different. You can see sa, sa, sa. If you keep palm near your lip area, you can see the lot of breath is coming out. So what you have to do, just touch the tip of the tongue to the corners or edges of your upper incisor teeth and exhale. Yani breathe out a lot of air outside, then it will sound like sa, 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 but it should not sound sa. If you make a whistling sound in letter sa, then it will convert in letter sin and the letter will completely change, making lehn al jali. Okay, alhamdulillah, we have completed all the letters. Now inshallah we can see from here the huruf al musta'aliya and mushtarak letter. Which are the heavy letters? Ghain, letter ghain which is heavy, letter kha which is heavy, sad, dad, ta, wa. These are the letters. If we make it light, they will convert into some other letters. Sad will convert to sin, dad will convert to dal. See, do, di, do, da, di, do. It has a similar sound. The makhraj is completely different, but it shares a similar sound, and that is why if you make it light, it will sound like dal. If the makhraj and if the sound changes, the letter changes, right? And you can do lehn al jali then. So letter ta is similar to letter ta. Ta is light and ta is heavy. Za is similar to letter zal. Zal is light and za is heavy. So you have to read these four letters very carefully. Okay, all these letters has a sifat called musta'aliya, that is a sifat al-lazima, permanent quality. But if you instead of reciting gha, you just recite a gha, then still this letter won't change to any other letter. Instead of reciting kha, if you just recite kha, then this letter won't convert to any other letter, and this is a qaf, qaqiqu. But if you recite the qaqiqu, making it light, still it won't convert into any other letter. We are removing its sifat, that's it. But these letters can convert into the another letter. Okay, so you have to pronounce these letters very carefully with heaviness, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. What are the mushtarak letters? That are sometimes light and sometimes heavy, which has a property both of tafqim and tarqiq. Sometimes they are heavy and sometimes they are light. Ra, inshallah, will learn separately the rules of Ra. Lam is heavy in Lam al Jalala, inshallah, even that will learn later. And Alif is heavy when it comes with these letters. Okay, Alif, when it comes with these huruf al musta'aliya, it becomes heavy. When it comes with remaining light letters, it will become light. In Alif Maddiya, we'll see that inshallah in next classes. Alhamdulillah, we have completed all the Arabic alphabets. So now inshallah we'll just recite it once. We'll read all the letters once. You can practice with me, and tomorrow inshallah, maybe there will be no class tomorrow. You can practice all the letters inshallah, and day after tomorrow we'll start the Tajweed rulings. In each Tajweed rulings we learn each of these letters. Okay, everywhere whenever we learn the rulings, we apply all those ruling into these letters, and so the makhraj will be correct. And after doing tajdeed, inshallah, we will have a revision class where you will recite these letters to me. with tajdeed on it, inshallah. There's only 3 minutes time, but still, inshallah, we'll try to pronounce this letter at least once, okay? Qaf, qaqiqu. Very good. Kaf, kakiku. Jim, jajiju. Shin, shashishu. Ya, yayiyu. MashaAllah. Dad, dadidu. MashaAllah. Lam, lalilu. Noon, naninu. Ra, rariru. MashaAllah. Dal, dadidu. Ta, tatitu. Yes, make this letter heavy now. Ta, tatitu. Za, zazizu. Sin, sasisu. Sod, sosisu. Dal, dadidu. Sa, sasisu. Dha, dhadidu. MashaAllah, excellent. Barakallahu feekum. Alhamdulillah. You will practice all these letters tomorrow again. Maybe there will be no class tomorrow. Inshallah, I'll confirm it tomorrow by tomorrow morning. Okay. Now, inshallah, we'll end the meeting. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon. Wa salamun ala al-mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan.